Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. All right, we're back, and I just so grateful to know this man. Daniel Ogan's back with us today. He's a counselor with the E Agency. I love his spirit, and for the next couple of segments, he's going to be with us, and we're going to be talking about family traditions. And this is so important in so many, many ways. And first of all, before we get into this, how do people get a hold of you, Daniel, if they want to get connected with you and your services?
They get a hold of me by the, is the address right there?
No, I don't. Oh, I have the phone number. Oh, yeah. eagency.net. That's the, that would be the website. Phone number, I'm sorry, I had my own. Which one you want, the 951 or the 2261?
The first one, best.
All right. 541-951-4134, and we'll give that out a little bit later. But he is a counselor and open to more clients, I would assume. All right, why did you pick this subject? Why family traditions?
The concept of family tradition is a big concept. In fact, I was up to 12 o'clock last night trying to put it concisely, because actually our whole civilization rests upon our tradition. And the problem that we're facing today is it's just dissolving. And so that's why I picked the subject, because I think in my work it is perhaps one of the most important aspects of developing a sense of tradition. And as we go on in this program, I'll explain why on that.
Now, how would you define a family tradition first? I mean, we all meet at Christmas. We all have the Christmas meal at 2 o'clock on Christmas Day. Is that a family tradition?
That could be a family tradition.
Okay.
But we're going to get more deeply into that, about what that means, because the first thing is how do you define the problem? And I wrote some notes. I'm going to have to put my glasses on, but I'm going to go to the 18th century BC and the Epic of Gilgamesh to explain what was happening in that society. And if you'll bear with me. Their concept was this. This is an old example, but their civilization fell. Their idea was fill your belly day and night, make merry. Let the days be full of joy. Dance and make music day and night. These things alone are the concern of men. Meaning a total hedonistic concept.
Right.
And of course, that was the cancer in that society. And a modern example is something I think you'll find interesting, somewhat humorous in a black sense. I was watching, I rarely watch television, but I saw a program on television the other day on Good Morning America. And the actress, who I won't mention her name, she was on there, and she at one time was very popular, but her star was waning. So they had her on Good Morning America, and she said, oh, I'm going to jumpstart my career because what I've done is I'm going to pose nude for Playboy, and this is really great. She was just talking about how wonderful this was, and I'm thinking, what? And she said, and the person who's helping me pick the photos is my 19-year-old son. This is a modern example of where we're at. And the thing was, on Good Morning America, they applauded her.
Oh, yeah.
The audience applauded as if she was some extremely wise and brilliant human.
You know, back to your earlier definition, your first one there was it party, food, full bellies, and all that? We just, the news has been filled with, this has been spring break, and as you know, college students head off to Panama City and some other places for spring break. And the decadence that goes from sun up to sundown on these beach parties, you look at this and you go, it's just totally out of control. It's the level of behavior and appetite far beyond anything that you would consider healthy.
It is paganism on steroids.
Yeah, well, you said it. That's exactly right.
And one of the problems we're facing is what we call postmodernism, nihilism. And Nietzsche said this is our concept today. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. This is nihilism. I mean, nothing is true. There's no absolutes. And if we're going to do an analysis very quickly of what I am facing as a Christian counselor, is in nihilism, when I talk to people, there's no objective in their lives. There's no absolute truth. Man is elevated to the center of reality. There's a loss of discernment. A great loss of discernment. What is right? What is wrong? What is good food? What is bad food? Meaning for the soul. And we have that problem. And modern day society, and our society, looks at man as a highly evolved animal, basically. And there's no absolute standards. Everything is relative values. And now we're going to get into tradition. The nuclear family is, in today's society, is considered a product of social evolution, not a sacrament. Not something that God set aside. And so when we're going to get later on into tradition, we're going to see why that is the salt. And
if a culture or a human being doesn't believe in an afterlife, no, for us Christians, if they don't believe in heaven, that when you die, that's it, then the goal has to become, let's turn this place into heaven. And the only way this place can be into heaven is to make me the God with no restrictions.
Exactly.
And
you hit it right on the nail head, Perry.
And so that's what the culture is saying. Become your own God, and let's throw off all rules and regulations. Certainly the Bible, that's old-fashioned, and let's get rid of that. Therefore, decadence rules, because the bad side, the dark side of an unregenerated heart and life is that type of style. And so that's where we are today, and it's mind-boggling. And yet, in the heart of those people, there's a hunger.
There is. We're not.
You get it. I get it every day. There is a hunger for truth. There has to be something more than what I think I'm doing here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what you're describing is absolutely true. That there are no absolutes. Let me ask you a question. In today's society, and I work with systems, the concept of an absolute truth, people hate this. And it's even difficult for us Christians to say, this is the absolute truth, because we are made to feel as if we're not part of what's really happening now. Stodgy, old-fashioned.
Right.
And anything new, anything youthful, anything that's hedonistic, that has value. But if you confront somebody and say, look, there is an absolute truth, tell people this, or not tell them, but put this out there with humility, and it really disturbs people.
When you say that, it suggests boundaries.
Exactly.
It suggests I can't do what I'm doing, because if the truth says I can't do it, then I don't want to believe in that truth. I'm looking for the truth that I'm okay the way I am, and I want to do what I want to do. And the conflict, I mean, that's been around since the beginning of man. But it seems, Daniel, to be winning. It seems to be dominating the culture.
I can feel it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
If you're really honest,
yeah,
your spirit is discerning something that has happened.
Right.
And one of the things that is a result of this, of loss of tradition, is, and here are some of the things that, like I told you, I was up till 12 o'clock last night. There's a loss of tradition, meaning structure. There's sexual anarchy. That is deep, meaning that's a part of creativity in us, and that has been bent. Innocence has been lost. Pandora's box is on the computer.
Yeah.
There's the loss of the sacred. And this all takes down into the breakdown of the family, which is the foundation, not only of a Christian nation, but of culture itself.
All right, I got to take a break here. I want you to now transition this into why family traditions are so important. Because if they are instituted from a godly biblical perspective, they have immense response. All right, we'll be right back. Our good buddy Counselor Daniel Ogan's with us from the E Agency. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and Daniel Ogan's with us today. He's a counselor, Christian counselor with the E Agency. And Daniel, you work out of Grants Pass, right?
Grants Pass, Ashland, Medford.
Oh, he's mobile.
I'm mobile.
All right, 541-951-4134 is his phone number. So you may want to get a pencil. I'll give it to you one more time, and then at the end of the program. 541-951-4134. And I love his gentle spirit. We're talking about family traditions and how the culture is done away with a lot of things and how important it is. Do you have family traditions that can carry on from one generation to another? And I look back in my family and we kind of laugh about it, but you know, then you realize it's a part of you.
Exactly.
It is part of your makeup. It's a part of your thinking. And so we know the culture has collapsed around us. We have a lot of blended families. Therefore, if there were family traditions, maybe they got lost in that process. How important is it for us to bring these traditions back into focus and back into practice?
I think that it's perhaps one of the most essential challenges we have. And let me give you an example. First of all, in my own life, years ago when I became Orthodox, an Orthodox Christian, I entered a church that still celebrates the calendar, the concept of sacred time. Our whole year is broken up into traditional things you do. And it's, I was reading some statistics last night, and during the medieval times, there was 150 days set out in the church calendars for fasting, for prayer, for holiday, for celebration, for rest. And all these were they had a traditional sense to it, and it was interwoven within these people. Tradition was what carried from one generation to the next. It is what tied me in with my great-grandfather. It's what constituted the family. And when we're looking at our nihilistic culture today, what is one of the hallmarks of this is a nothingness, a tie into nothingness, a leap into the void, so to speak. And so tradition and the implementing of tradition within our families and within our church, and take it serious, is extremely important, very important.
Wow. All right. So what are you saying to families? What are you saying to parents? What do you want them to get out of this?
What I'm saying to parents is that I have great compassion for parents. This has got to be one of the most difficult times in history, maybe. There is a darkness, and parents are pulling their hair out. Oh gosh, what do we do? They're being influenced by school, by television, by internet. There's such a pull to break up the whole concept of the nuclear family into traditions, like the tradition of respect, of saying sir, opening the doors for the elderly. There's so many things that it would take me hours to explain, but what I say to parents is this: start off slow, start implementing, and be work on it day by day. Don't give up on this.
To find something that the family unit can rally around. So often it's around holidays. I think even the secular celebration of holidays eclipse the sacred part of holidays. I think it would behoove families to say, all right, let's put the death, burial, and resurrection back into Easter. Okay, let's put the Immaculate Conception and birth back into Christmas. We can start there. Maybe we can start with every year, we're going to, on this weekend in May, we go to this place as a family, you know. You set those traditions in place.
Exactly. You know, when our dear Lord, his death and resurrection, not only did he redeem us, he redeemed time, sacred time, the eternal time. And tradition ties into the sacred. And the best way I can explain sacred to anybody, everybody understands this analogy. I'll ask somebody, do you have a picture of your daughter? Well, yeah, let me show you. And I would say to them, well, what if I tore this up or stepped on it? Well, you'd have a problem. And then I'd say, well, it's just a piece of paper. They go, no, it's a picture of my daughter. What he's saying is, no, this piece of paper has been made sacred because of my love. It's no longer a piece of paper. That's what sacred is. And traditions are part of that, are tying our family in to sacred time. The sacredness of a family. And that's what traditions do. They're the salt that keeps us together.
Is praying together, is that a tradition?
Yes, it is. It's a beautiful tradition. During this time of that we're going through Lent, me and my wife have made a special effort every night to take our two children and to really do the prayer with them. That's part of our Lent. And going through Lent, I explained to them what this is all about. It's not just about giving something up. It's about looking at yourself, coming back to our first love for Christ, repentance, a renewal. And during Pascha, during the celebration, it's Christ is risen. He has taken all those things that seem impossible, and he has resurrected them. And in the family, I have great faith in this, that it can happen. It's not impossible. Through Christ, all things are possible.
What about the tradition? Not the obligation, and certainly not the commitment, but the tradition, the love of just taking your family to church.
That simple thing. You know, children don't always like to go to church. It's not easy. You know, you're taking them to school all week, and on Sunday morning, oh my gosh, I just want to rest. You're tired. But the church is absolutely, it's our community, our foundation. Christ died, gave himself for the church. And in our Orthodox faith, we take this very serious. Very serious, that is part of our tradition. That's what we carry. And this is what I'm implementing with my children. You know, that they are tied into the past also with me, hoping they will carry it forward to their children.
You know, there's a movie, very famous movie, Fiddler on the Roof.
I love that movie.
And there's a song in there, Tradition.
Yes.
But as cute as all of that is, the seriousness of that, in the Jewish community, there is an incredible family tradition of legacy of passing that on to their one generation to the other. Fast forward to where we are today, and just in the modern church, it appears, I don't want to be critical, but it appears we're not taking seriously of passing those traditions, the purpose, the reasoning, the passion behind it, the commitment behind it to the next generation. It's kind of like, get it on your own.
That's a great observation. And I believe that part of the problem is we have lost the concept and the understanding of what is sacred. The sacred, see? It's lost in many ways.
Have we made God cool instead of sacred?
In many ways.
I don't mean that to be disrespectful.
No, and I know that, okay.
I'm trying to be descriptive.
I will say this.
Yeah.
I remember in my younger years, I did that. You know, God help us. But as we mature, that's why we need the elders. I mean, we have to be sensitive to teenagers and, you know, not allow them a little freedom. But as we get older, we realize that we're in a battle. And I know they also, I'm not demeaning them, but we are in a battle. What is one of our greatest tools? Our traditions. And the traditions passed down through the church and through the family.
When you're counseling young people that have gone prodigal, At what point do you try to bring the parents in on that?
Okay, that is a pretty deep question because...
And you only got 90 seconds.
In general, when that person allows it.
Okay.
I'm ready to face my parents.
But it is part of your thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Because what you're doing is bringing the traditional family back together.
Blessed are the peacemakers.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, that is, you're right, bringing them back.
Okay. Well, Daniel, you're an inspiration. I really appreciate this. I would hope, especially as we go into the Easter season, that every family would evaluate their own traditions as it relates to the church and to Christ and to what the scriptures say. And are you defaulting that responsibility just to the church, or are you taking the leadership responsibility in those traditions and leading your family into that? We go to church, we do this because, you know.
That's a very good thing to meditate on.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, thank you. Again, let me give you his phone number. If you want to get a hold of him, he is a counselor with the E-Agency. You can go to the eagency.net or 541-951-4134. Did you get that? 541-951-4134. And he works in various areas throughout Southern Oregon, and you can get a hold of him. Thanks, my friend. Blessings on you.
Thank
Keep
you,
up the
sir.
good work. Okay.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you next time on Focus Today.